my name is Rachel and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to an episode of Never Say Never. This is episode 3. Now, in this episode, I decided to do a book that I don't think I'm going to like, but I have an odd feeling that I might actually love it. So it's kind of a 50-50. In episode 1, I read Zodiac Academy and I knew that I was gonna hate it, so I kind of set myself up for that one. And then in episode 2, I read The Raven Boys, which was recommended to me specifically by my friend Jade, and it also was backed up again by my friend Maggie, so I knew that I would probably end up liking that one. In this one, I'm going to be reading Ice Planet Barbarians. I don't remember the author's name. Something Dixon, maybe? Is that right? I don't know. I'll have the cover up. I'm filming on my phone, so I can't look it up right now. But I have a weird feeling, even though I don't read, romance or smut, I've just heard so many people love this one, even people who don't read those kind of things, similar to me. And I really enjoyed the Mead Mishap series by Kimberly Lemming, which is, a fantasy. I would consider it cozy fantasy with comedy and smut. It is very smutty, don't get me wrong. And in book 2 there are tentacles. So I dabbled, I had a little foray into monster smut, I guess. So I feel because of those things, I could potentially like Ice Planet Barbarians. It's December right now. It's literally freezing outside. There was ice on our cars when we woke up. I live in a place where it doesn't really snow, so it won't get too wintry, unfortunately. But I figured, what better time to read a book about Ice Planet Barbarians than in the middle of December? So as per my last 2 videos, I'm gonna read this book. I'll update you along the way. There will be spoilers. I will be spoiling this book because I'm gonna read quotes out, things that I like, things that I laugh at, things that I want to make fun of, or if I love it, things that I'm shocked that I'm enjoying. So without further ado, I'm gonna go start the book. Okay, I started Ice Planet Barbarians. I cannot believe that is something that just came out of my mouth. So I'm about to get ready to go outside and wait for my son at the bus, which sucks because it's freezing out there. Holy shit. So she gets abducted immediately, 2 paragraphs in, which I guess is great. Let's get the show on the road, But damn, she wakes up in a cage full of women. Terrifying. And this girl next to her is oh, let me guess, you're 22, you're not pregnant, you don't have any health issues. And she's like, how did you know? And then the girl Liz is like, oh, we're all in the same boat. And then she's like, except so-and-so, forget the girl's name. Oh, except Megan. And then she's like, she was pregnant 2 months along, apparently. She said they vacuumed her out like it was no big deal. Ew. And this is a romance, right? So yeah, I can understand okay, you get kidnapped, okay, Stockholm syndrome, whatever, but I hope this girl Megan, I hope she fights tooth and nail, because they basically killed her baby against her will. I should point out, against her will. So she was kidnapped, didn't know she was pregnant, I guess, and then they forcefully abortioned her. That should have been her choice. That should have been her choice. So I hope if we see more of Megan, I really hope she's fighting them, punch him in the dick, Megan. They did something so cruel to you. And I also am kind of a little flabbergasted at how flippantly that was just on the page. Oh, they vacuumed her out. They didn't even I get that this is kind of not taking itself too seriously. At least it's not right now anyways. But I don't know. Yeah. That's kind of insensitive, I feel like. Maybe, word it differently? I don't know. I'm just being picky. But, so far the writing style is, fine, I guess. It's first person, which I usually hate, but it's got, a comedicness to the writing, I guess. So, hopefully that will make it more enjoyable, because if it was taking itself, super seriously, and it was, pretentious alien dick, I probably couldn't read this. and make it to the end. Also, this is apparently really short. I looked on Storygraph, it's 188 pages or something, and I had no idea it was so short, which is good because then my Kindle said it was 4 hours to read the whole thing or something. So woo! That means I don't have to spend too much time in this world, hopefully. But I am not hating the writing, which is good. I do think the comment about getting vacuumed out was a little insensitive. But I hope that the girl that it happened to, Megan, like, I hope she kicks their ass. I hope she fights tooth and nail, and I really hope that Megan doesn't like fall in love with the person who was responsible for that, because that's just fucked up. They really just forcefully made her have an abortion after kidnapping her. Terrible. These aliens are not good people. That's for sure. I'm gonna continue. I have to go wait outside for my son, so I'm gonna throw on a sweatshirt. I'll bring it with me probably and try to read try to read a little bit before he gets home from school. Bye. Nothing like waiting your turn on the poop bucket to make you lose what little humanity you have left. Okay, I can't lie, that's actually kind of funny. So yeah, they're definitely in a cell. There's nowhere to piss or shit except a bucket in the corner. And yeah, I wouldn't have any dignity left either after that. About to go outside and freeze my ass off. Nobody told me this book had rape. The aliens just raped a girl for screaming. I feel so terrible for her. Oh my god, this is dark. Like, y'all were all Ice Planet Barbarians, monster romance. Like, what the fuck? This is dark. What have I gotten myself into? Like, what have I gotten myself into? This girl just got assaulted. She just got essayed on page in a room full of other women who watched it happen by fucking alien dicks. Not dicks like in their pants, dicks like they are dicks. By fucking alien jerks. Oh my god, no one told me this. Ice Planet Barbarians, monster romance, alien romance. Okay, like, these aliens suck. They better not be the aliens that, like, fall in love with these characters, because no. Not on my watch. The main character, though, was like, she's like starting to get some spunk. She's like, I'm looking in all the nooks and crannies. I'm looking at anything I can use in this room as a weapon, because if they ever touch me, I'm gonna fucking kill them. So I love that. I love a woman who's like, touch me and you die. So we'll see how this goes. I'm like, again, I'm not hating the writing style. I am flabbergasted, though, by the SA scene that just but yeah, that was crazy. Didn't love that, but I mean, the main character also didn't love it, so, you know, I could relate to her in that way. They were all very much, all the women in the cage were very much like silently crying and looking away and covering their ears, and even though they aren't the ones that got SA'd, like, I just feel terrible for all of them, because obviously the girl who got SA'd, like, had it the worst, and I feel so terrible for her, poor girl. And she speaks French, so I don't think any of the other captives can, like, communicate with her. But yeah, even just watching it and, like, having to be in that room, like, knowing, like, oh, that could have been me, like, that's so scary. So I feel really for all of these women. That's terrible. These poor women. They're all young too. They're all 22. They're all very young women. This must be excruciatingly, like, frightening. I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, but there is, like, a level of humor to the writing, but obviously there are still, like, some dark moments. So I'm liking the balance so far. I'm not really far at all, but yeah. I just had to update one last time before I go outside, because I read that while I was throwing on my sweatshirt and I was like, what the fuck? I like that the book is getting to the action really quickly, though. Like, I'm really glad we didn't spend a shit ton of time, like, on Earth with this girl, because that would have probably bothered me, to be honest. Like, I don't really care about your Earth life. I'm trying to see what's going on with the aliens. So I'm glad that we actually got to the alien part quickly, which is a surprise, and I'm happy about that, I guess. I don't know. Only time will tell. Okay, I'm back inside. It was freezing out there. They just crash landed on this planet. So the main character, I don't even know what the fuck her name is. Have they said her name yet? I don't even know. But her friend's name is Liz. Oh, Georgie. Her name's Georgie. So the main character, Georgie, came up with a plan to murder one of the guards, and they murdered him as they were, like, as the pod was being detached from the ship to drop on a planet, and then they crash landed. So she murdered the guard, and then they crashed anyways, and now they're stranded here. And she's about to go out in the snow, which I'm assuming is the Ice Planet. And so she's like, oh, I'm only wearing pajamas because that's what I was wearing when I got abducted. Like, I need warmer clothes when we go out in the snow. So she strips the clothes off the guard and puts them on, which makes sense. Like, I'll give you that. It makes sense. But the clothes, she's like, it was too tight on my breasts. And I'm like, how big are your breasts? Because earlier you guys were cowering in fear in front of this alien because he's stronger than you. So if you're I'm assuming they're conventionally attractive 22-year-old women with big boobs. Shouldn't his jacket fit you? Like, I'm not saying it's gonna be, like, huge on you or anything, but, like, shouldn't it fit fine? Like, even though men don't have breasts, like, they have muscles, and he's, like, a big beefy alien that was SAing you guys and carrying a large gun. So, little bit of a plot point that didn't make sense. I mean, I don't know why we needed the jacket to be so tight on her breasts, but anyways. So I'm assuming now she's gonna go out on this planet that they crash landed on, and it's gonna be the Ice Planet because it's snowing and cold, and they're gonna run into big blue alien men. The plot thickens. Okay, I have like 5 minutes of chapter 1 left. It was a long chapter. It was like 50 minutes. But there have been chapter breaks. Ow, that hurt. But there have been chapter breaks, so it hasn't felt like it's been that long. But at the end of the chapter, we get a POV from Vectel. Is that how you pronounce his name? I can't remember, honestly. I think it's Vectel. I'm assuming it's that man on the cover, the tall, mysterious guy with his head chopped off. So the main character is talking to Liz, and Georgie decides that someone needs to go scouting and like see what this planet looks like that they've crashed on. So of course it's her because she's the main character. So she puts on the clothes, like I was saying before. Oh my god, Ashley scared me. He just licked my hand. She puts on the clothes that are too tight on her breasts because they're so big, and she crawls out of like a hole in the ceiling of this pod thing that they're in, and she gets out into the snow, and she's like, oh my god, I'm freezing. So of course they're on like an alien planet, right? And she's like walking, and she's like, oh my god, these trees look so weird. Like, is that even a tree? I don't know what trees look like on this planet. So all of this is happening, and she goes to grab some like a skinny tree thing and get some water, and turns out the thing she grabbed was actually a really weird fish with like a giraffe neck sticking out of the water. I don't really know what it was, but it was scary. And then so she runs away, and she gets her foot caught in a snare, and she's like, okay, this is bad news because I'm caught in a snare, but there's also good news because there are knots in a rope hanging from a tree, which means there's intelligent life around. So I'm like, okay, that's a good observation actually to make. And she's like trying to get out, and I think that she passes out or something. I think she's trying to get out of the snare and she passed out. So then it like goes to the next POV, which is a Vectel, and he's like, oh my gosh, a creature, blah blah blah. And then he like looks at her, and he's like, I forget what it's called, let me look at it. Okay, so he looks at her, and I think that he has something like within him called a sakui, whatever the fuck that is, or I don't know how to say that. Yeah, so then he's like, oh, I think this is my mate. And then he like brings her back to a cave, and she's like passed out. So then he undresses her. She's butt naked, and he's like, oh, these creatures are so weird. Like, their skin is smooth, and she only has hair on her head and between her thighs. And then he's like, that's different. I wonder what that's about. So then he goes down on her while she's unconscious. And he's like, this is weird. My member, and my son's in the other room, so I have to watch what I say. He's like, my member got hard. But he didn't say member. He said the C word. Well, I'm just, leaving that out for now. And then he like just goes down on her. She's butt naked. And then it like ends. Let me see. Like, I'm going to read it to you word for word. So right now he's like staring at her naked body, right? And he's like, how did one so weak as her find their way to the outer hunting ground? It's a mystery, almost as much of one as the fact that she's making my cooey resonate hard in my chest. It's thrumming with the call, so I'm assuming like a mate call, and the need to mate slams through my body as her soft rounded thighs part and her scent fills my nostrils. And then he's still looking at her, and he's like, a groan escapes me as my C word grows hard, the ridges on it swelling. Ridges? What is it, ribbed for pleasure? I bury my face between her legs so I can taste all of her. And then it goes to her POV. I haven't read that part yet, but there's 5 minutes left in the chapter. The first line in her POV is, I'm pretty sure I'm dreaming. So I'm pretty sure what's gonna happen is she's gonna like it at first and then wake up and be like, oh shit, I'm not actually dreaming. Get the F off of me. Yeah, so I'm sure that will be interesting. And I mean, like, yeah, he's kind of like essaying her, but it's not like forceful like the guys that were guarding the cell earlier. I think that this is like a miscommunication because obviously he doesn't realize that she's from another planet. Like, from his perspective, like, he's out hunting, he doesn't realize this is like an alien person. So like in their world, like maybe that's normal, I don't know. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. This girl's gonna wake up and freak out, which is completely understandable because I would too, but yeah. Anyways, like, it's weird because like this book is absurd, right? Like, shit that's happening right now is crazy. I'm not hating it though. It's definitely better written than Zodiac Academy. Like, yes, terrible and dark and like weird things are happening and it's like freaky, but it's like not annoying me in the way that Zodiac Academy did. This, like, I'm definitely laughing at it a little bit, but like it's like funny in like a kind of enjoyable way. Like, it's stupid. I think it's kind of dumb, don't get me wrong, but like it's like a fun, like it's fun and dumb. It's fine so far. It's definitely not. Oh, okay, you just shoot me with your fake arrows. Oh, you want to show them? Doink. One more. Wow, you're like Katniss Everdeen, you know? Oh my gosh, he switched bows. Dunk. Dunk. Okay, get out of here. What was I saying before my child wanted to show you his bow and arrow? At least the writing is at a skill level where I don't want to smash my face in to a brick wall while reading it. So that's one positive it's got going for it. Yeah, the main character is like fine. She's okay. Maybe she'll grow on me. I don't hate her, but she's just kind of right now. So that's one thing. So that's where we're at right now. I'm about to finish cooking dinner and eat with my family. And then this book is super short. I think I'm already 20% in and I've barely been reading. I've just been reading a little bit here and there in the last like hour or two. So if I focus really hard tonight, I could possibly finish it before I go to bed. My husband just got home.
After a change.
I am husband, I am home. Home is I.
Here.
Okay, it's after dinner. My son's in bed right now. My husband's reading to him. So I started reading more of Ice Planet Barbarians. Y'all, this book is unexpectedly so funny. So she's like naked in a cave and this guy's eating her out, right? She finally wakes up like I predicted. She was enjoying it at first, realized it wasn't a dream, and then she woke up and she's like, oh my god, and then pushes him away. And he's wearing like a white fur jacket of some sort, or cloak maybe. And she's like, oh, this is what I saw in the forest earlier. It wasn't a monster that came to eat me. This is what, right before she passed out, she saw what she thought was a monster and she passed out. And she goes, it wasn't a monster come to eat me. It was this monster who came to eat me out. It's just unexpectedly really funny. Like, I genuinely just cackled out loud at that. So, I don't know. I mean, yes, this book is absurd and, like, violent and graphic, but, like, it's just also kind of funny. Why am I kind of enjoying this? I'm kind of enjoying it. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Do I like alien smut? Oh, God. I wasn't, like, cringing, which is good, I guess. And again, it was still funny, even though, like, you know, it was like, it had humor to it. So I don't know, man. I'm not hating it. This is the shocker of the century, honestly. Okay, so I'm just sitting here reading. I'm watching Katie Coulson's Public Sprints, and my cat is giving me biscuits. What a sweetie. So I'm at the part where they're in the cave and they're like trying to communicate, and obviously they speak different languages, and it's kind of just funny to see them like trying so hard to communicate back and forth because neither of the other one can like understand the other. Also, my hair looks crazy, sorry about that. But yeah, so that was kind of funny. And then Vectel's like, okay, like you can sleep right here, and she's like, oh hell yeah. And then she wakes up cuddled up next to him, and she's like, if I had my choice of what was it? Let me just read it. I should have just had the quote ready because I knew I was going to update you guys. She said, it's not the worst place in the world to be. I mean, if I had my choice between the old cargo bay, alone in the snow, or snuggled up next to the pussy-loving alien, I'm going to go with option number 3. I'm actually really finding that I kind of like the humor. Like, don't get me wrong, like, it's still stupid, but like I'm enjoying it because it's just really funny also. I am already 27% in, and according to my Kindle I have 3 hours left in this book, which like it's definitely a short book. I have been reading a little slow today because I've been unfocused, so I'm sure if I were to like focus for a little bit that number would drop significantly, but as of right now I have 3 hours left. I'm really hoping to make decent progress in it tonight and possibly finish it in the morning. I think I'm gonna do some like super last minute sprints tomorrow. Okay, so the part that I'm at now. So Georgie and Vectel left the cave, and she tried to convince him to go back up the mountain to save the other girls, and he was like, no, you need to eat, like you're gonna die, dude, like you're starving. And she's like, no, I need to go save the other girls. So she's like trying to get him to go up the mountain, and he's like, no. So he takes her down the mountain, gets her something to eat, and then there's like a hot spring and they bathe in it, and of course he's like got an erection because he's like, oh my gosh, my mate is naked in front of me. And she's like, I just want to get clean, this is weird. But then she's like thinking like, okay, how do I get him to go back up the mountain because I need to rescue the other girls, like this isn't fair, like I said I'd go back for them. And then so she kisses him, And he's like, of course he's into it because he's like obsessed with her already. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna barter my body. Like, I will like offer to kiss him if he'll take me back up the mountain. He like rubs her vagina and she's like, what the fuck? And he's like, I'll take you up the mountain if you let me, like, you know, like I'm trying to get it. This is all like, they're all like miming and pointing and like yeah, they're like miming things because they still can't communicate fully. They know each other's names. That's about it at this point. And so she's like, well, fuck it. If it'll get all the other girls saved, like, I guess I'll just say okay. So she says okay. So he's like taking her back up, and then they're like halfway back up the mountain, and he's like, we need to stop for the night. She doesn't want to. She's like, no, we'll stop later after we get to the girls. So she like storms off, and of course it's like snowing, obviously, because it's Ice Planet. Hello. Yeah. So then she like falls through some snow and like lands into a crevice, a crevasse, however you pronounce it. And there are these weird like fish creature people things in there. She says they're bipedal fish with huge eyes. So that's where I'm at right now. She like falls in the hole, and immediately she's like, oh, great. Can't wait to hear whatever alien version of I told you so is about to happen. Because he was yelling at her not to go up there. Again, I'm oddly finding that I'm enjoying this. It's definitely not the most groundbreaking, philosophical, like beautiful piece of art I've ever read. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's like silly, goofy, smutty, and I'm kind of liking it, which is a shocker to me. I didn't think I would like it. I do really love the Mead Mishap series, and it kind of has similar vibes, but like, of course, this is aliens and not like fantasy-esque. It's more like sci-fi-esque. And in Mead Mishaps, there is definitely like a building of a relationship between two people who can like speak the same language. So it is a little bit more traditional in that sense, where they're like, you know, talking and building up the relationship, and the tension builds, and there's like all this like yearning and stuff. Whereas here, like, he's just like they can't communicate, and he's just touching her whenever he feels like it, and he like literally woke her up with oral before he ever spoke to her. So like, it's definitely following a different path. But yeah, now that they're like on their little quest together and like slowly starting to communicate more, like I feel like they're going to you know, start falling in love more. I'm really hoping that we will get to see more of them like slowing down and maybe taking the time to like teach each other the like meanings of words that they're trying to say, and like actually work on communicating. That would be really nice. I don't think we'll get that because it is such a short book. I think it's only 188 pages, 288 pages. Like, it's short. It's definitely under 300. I can't remember off the top of my head what the page count is at the moment, but I don't think we'll get all of that like character building together just because it is so short. But I mean, who knows? I could be wrong. I'm not expecting it, but it would be nice if we got that. I also really do hope that they actually go back and save the other women, because otherwise Georgie is just a piece of shit who left these women behind after they trauma bonded over being abducted by aliens and all the fucking sexual assault and shit that they were going through. So I really hope that she makes Vectel take her up there, they save the other women, and I hope that they really work hard to like communicate. Although there is the one girl that's back at the pod who has like a translator thing on her ear, because the other aliens, I think she was their first victim, so they gave her a translator, and then she was kind of like translating for all of the women when there were instructions where they were like, okay, they said like do this, do that, whatever. So it would definitely be nice to see more communication coming between the two of them before they just keep touching each other. Touching each other's genitals before they even can say each other's names properly. I'm also already 37% of the way through. It's so short, and it's about 11 o'clock now. I'm probably gonna finish this chapter and maybe read the next one if it's short. They have been quite long chapters though. They've been about 30 minutes average, and so I'm gonna finish the one I'm at now because I think I have like 10 minutes left, and then if the next one's short, I'll probably read it like while I'm laying down and update tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know, this is going quick, which is great, because I thought it was gonna be like dragging ass trying to read it. It's not like anything that I've ever read before. Like, I don't read smut, I don't read like alien romance, but yeah, it's going a lot faster than I planned, and I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would. Can you believe it? I can't. It's so funny. But yeah, so I'll update probably tomorrow in the morning after I have food and coffee and my son goes to school, so I can talk to you about this book without him listening. Okay, so I'm currently on stream right now. But I had to update you. So I'm reading Ice Planet, obviously, and he saved her from, like, when she fell in the crevice thing. He obviously, like, rushed in and saved her, and she was like, oh my god, like, big strong man, like, saved me, thank god, blah, blah, blah. And then he, like, tucks her in, feeds her, takes care of her, because obviously she's, like, injured and stuff. Yeah, so he's feeding her, and then she goes to sleep, and as she goes to sleep, he goes out to get more firewood, and he comes back, and she, like, wakes up, and she's all sleepy and bleary-eyed, and then she's like, they spend some time pointing at things and saying the name for it in their own language, which I really appreciate. Like I said earlier, I wanted to see them getting to know each other a bit more, and so that was nice to see that, because we're in Vectel's POV when that's happening, and he's like, oh, we've run out of things to, like, name inside this cave, because again, like, they are only in a cave, and they're barbarians. They don't have, like, a lot of technology, so they're just pointing to, like, rugs and carpets, I'm assuming, like, rocks and whatever. So then they start pointing at body parts, and of course it gets frisky. So she's, like, turned on, so it switches to her POV, and she's like, oh my god, like, I'm so turned on, he's actually really attractive, like, now that I'm past the horns and the blue skin, like, he's kind of hot, and I wonder if he's hot for, like, his species, or if I just think he's hot because he saved me. And so he, like, gets a boner, obviously, because she's, like, touching him and stuff. And then she's like, oh, I guess I don't need to ask about birth control, do I? I'm not on the pill. Not that it matters right now. And I'm pretty sure that since we're different species, you can't get me pregnant. And if that's foreshadowing for the accidental pregnancy trope, I am gonna be pissed, because I fucking hate that trope so much. I hate accidental pregnancy, which is so funny because, like, that happened to me in real life, but, like, I mean, I was with my husband at the time, like, we had been together for 2.5 years, and I have PCOS, and when I was really little, a doctor told me that it was so severe that I would probably never get pregnant, so, like, I wasn't being careful, and for 2.5 years, like, I never got pregnant except when I got pregnant with my son, and then even now, like, we've been together 8 years, and I've only ever been pregnant the one time, so it's like, I've lived an accidental pregnancy, but for some reason, like, I hate it. I think why I hate it in books is because it always ends up taking away, like, the woman's, like, agency. Like, she just becomes, like, a pregnant, like, mother. She just, like, loses her, like, personality, I guess, and it always becomes, like, about that, and then it's, like, about the husband, about the baby. And, like, I don't like that. Like, although maybe there won't be accidental pregnancy yet, because this is the first book in a series, and I know there's, what, 6 of them? So hopefully no pregnancies here, because I'm not trying to see at the end of an extremely short book, like, a happy ending with a pregnancy, like, already. Like, that's so soon. I hate it. So I'm a little wary on that. I will say that I do think this book is funny, but I don't know if it's trying to be funny anymore. Like, it's definitely getting more to the part where it's, like, having sexy scenes, and the sexy scenes are not bad, but but I'm, like, laughing the whole way through them, and I don't know if, like, I'm supposed to be, although I will say, like, the main character, like, her inner monologue is a little, like, facetious and like, sarcastic, so I guess it's, like, intending to be funny, but I don't know if I'm laughing the way I'm supposed to be. I don't know if I'm laughing with her. I think I might be laughing at her. Sorry if you can hear my cat snorting. He does this every time I film. But yeah, so I'm 44% in. I have 2 hours left of this book, and I really hope I can finish it today. But I added a sticker to the back of my Kindle since I took the case off, because it's too heavy for my, like, shoulder situation right now. I just think she's really cute. Okay, I have 12 minutes left of the sprint, so I'm gonna get back to reading and try to finish as much as I can in the sprint, and then hopefully I will read something interesting and update you again later in the day. Okay, I am updating to say that I am mid sex scene right now on sprints. So I'm trying not to turn red while I'm reading on sprints. Before I get to what I'm trying to say about the sex scene, they were still doing, it was the same scene as them, like, pointing to things and saying the word in their own language, which was really cute. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I wanted to see them communicating more, which is nice. However, I did kind of want it to stop at flirting, because they still haven't rescued the other girls. So now they're literally fucking, and the other women are all still in the pod. And at this point now, it's been 2 days. So it's like, are they frozen to death? Are they starving to death? Like, they have no, like, clothing. They have no fire. They have no food. And she's over here, like, I understand that there's a language barrier, and she's trying to get him to go up the mountain. I do understand that. But at the same time, she's like, oh, we can't go up the mountain right now? Well, might as well get fucked. Like, where are your morals? I kind of thought that she would be loyal to the other women at least because they all were going through such a horrible experience together. So I'm a little frustrated at that she's like, you know, getting dick down right now while everyone else is up in the fucking pod thing at the top of the mountain, probably frozen to death at this point because it was snowing. There was like a blizzard. Yeah, so anyways, they're fucking, and I guess his like penis has a knob like at the base. It's like a knob that comes off of his penis, and so they're like fucking, and she's like, oh, I get it now. His dick is shaped like a rabbit, like the vibrator, the rabbit. So they're like fucking, and she's like, oh, this is just like my vibrator at home. And I'm like, girl, you came all the way to an alien planet for a rabbit shaped dick. Shame on you. But like, I mean, it's just really funny. Ooh, I moan. It reminds me of the time I had a rabbit vibrator and it worked my clit at the same time as my core. Having sex with Vectel, it's like that, but better, even more intense. This might kill me. Okay, you're dramatic. Where's the other thing that I highlighted? I just need to read this out loud to you. I need someone else to hear. So before, obviously, they're about to start fucking, he's taking off her clothes and her like jumpsuit thing, like he unbuttons it and she's like, I tug it open for him and my breasts spill free. Like, they're not spilling, okay? They're just there. Like, why do you have to say that? Again, it just reminds me of when she's like, oh, I buttoned up this jumpsuit and it was so tight on my chest. And it's like, you stole that jumpsuit off of an alien who apparently only has 2 toes. And yeah, I don't know. The sex scene, like, is fine, I guess, although she did say like core. I hate when authors use the word core to describe a vagina, but she is also using words like pussy and labia and clit. So like, I guess she's like calling it things that like are normal that I would say too. So it's not like really bothering me a lot, but but it is just like fine. I don't know, it's fine, I guess. The rabbit vibrator dick knob thing is kind of really funny. That made me laugh a lot, and I was trying not to blush on stream because like they're literally fucking, and it's not like no one can tell what I'm reading, right? Like I have a Kindle, like they can't see the cover, they can't read the words that I'm reading, so it's like I don't know why, but it's like reading smut in front of people for some reason is making me like but other than that, like it's just fine. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading this sex scene and I'll update you later. Okay, so she came like a million times obviously, and then he comes inside of her and she's like, it's a good thing you can't make me pregnant, buddy, because he comes inside of her, stays inside of her, and then like is cuddling her for a minute, and then after a minute he like starts thrusting again, and she's like, it's a good thing you can't make me pregnant, buddy. And I'm just like, can he? Is it can he? Are you sure? You keep bringing it up, so I have a feeling she's gonna get pregnant. Which I'm not here for the pregnancy trope, so really hope that's not foreshadowing and the author is trying to signal to us like, no, she can't get pregnant. That would be ideal here. So now we're in Vectel's point of view. Oh my god. He says, I cannot wait for her to swell with my child, our child. Someone help me. I don't want the pregnancy trope. Like, he's so large. If she had an alien baby, it's gonna kill her. There's no way she survives that, right? Oh my god. Okay. So obviously they were just fucking. It's the next day. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go check the traps for food and then I'll take my Georgie up the mountain, because he calls her my Georgie, and finds a frozen body of one of the other girls. I knew it. I'm so pissed. I'm mad about this because the other girls didn't deserve to die frozen while they waited for her to come save them while she was just getting railed by a fucking giant alien blue dick. Not happy about that. I knew it. I had a feeling that someone was gonna die because she was too busy getting her fucking back broke. I knew this was gonna happen. Okay, so they've reached the girls. Only 5 of them are alive. Liz is one of them, and Kira, I think, who's the one with the translator. Vectel says something to Georgie in front of the girls, and Kira says, he just asked if you want to mate here. And then Liz goes, oh shit, that's what held her up. Alien nookie. And then Georgie is like in her head, she's like, my face feels flaming hot. I jerk my hands back. They're all staring at me. Megan looks amused while Tiffany looks a little horrified. They should be horrified. You chose alien sex over rescuing your fellow abducted human women. Like, what's wrong with you? You're not a girl's girl. I'm so sorry. She's with the girls now. And Vectel tells Kira that Georgie's his mate. And of course they're all like, what the fuck? And then the other girls are like, shit, if he can give us fire and warm food, I'll even suck his dick. And then Georgie's like, I don't like that. That made me jealous. Am I falling in love with a big blue alien? And I'm like, clearly the sex was good enough to just... And I'm like, apparently the sex is good enough that it's just completely made you head over heels for this rabbit vibrator having big blue dick alien who also has a tail and horns, by the way. But I will say, I kind of like Vectel. Like, it's not his fault that he didn't know about the girls, right? He didn't know that they were up there, so that's not his fault. It's definitely all Georgie's fault. Like, she should have tried harder to, like, intone that it was very, like, pertinent that they get up to the mountain because there were more people like her up there. Like, she didn't really try that hard, to be honest. So, like I said, she's not a girl's girl. However, like, Vectel didn't know. That's not his fault. And, like, he's been really nice to her. He's been, like, doting on her hand and foot, keeping her safe, keeping her warm, keeping her fed. He's been, like, trying really hard to understand what she's saying. And, yeah, I don't know. Like, I like him. I think he's fine. I just don't really like Georgie. Also, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wish that... So, at the beginning, when all the girls get abducted... they're all 22, and I'm like, Georgie is like having crazy alien sex, and like she's so young, like, you know, she's just only 1 year legal to drink alcohol, but at the same time she's like supposed to be this like super brave girl who's like really strong, even though she's like tiny and big breasted and soft like a human. And it's like literally the author could have just made her like 26 or 27. Like, just give her a little bit of age and maturity, because I feel like the way she's reading on page, other than the fact that she should have tried harder to go back and save the women, the way that she's reading on page, like, it is reading a little bit more older than 22. Like, 22 feels really young and naive, so I feel like a 22-year-old is gonna have a harder time like adjusting to the fucking situation she's going through. And it's like, why like, you could have just made her a little bit older. Like, obviously it's an adult book regardless, but I don't know, I just wish that she was like 26 or 27, because she volunteered to go like look for food when she was with the girls when they first crashed, and then when she was with Vectel, she was like, oh, if he gives me a knife, like, I can go hunting. And I'm like, you don't know how to hunt. Maybe if she was a little older I could buy it, like, okay, she's a little bit more experienced in life, she's probably been through struggles. She's like simultaneously reading like older than 22, but also like she also feels a little bit more naive than 22 at times, because again, like, she's like, oh yeah, if I had a knife, like, I could do it, I could go hunt. And it's like, have you ever hunted before in your life? Have you? Because I don't know if you can do that, especially on an alien planet. Maybe if you were stranded like in a forest in like on Earth, where it's like creatures you've heard of before, or like things you're familiar with from just like learning about them in school or whatever, like, yeah, I could say, okay, maybe she could accomplish that for sure. But on an alien planet where you don't know anything about the land, the animals, the people, the weaponry, like, you don't know anything about anything, and she's just like so confident that if she had a knife she could have totally went and hunted. And I'm like, no, you couldn't. So yeah, I don't know. I wish that she was a little bit older. I wish that she would acknowledge that she doesn't have the skills that she needs to in order to survive. And like, I kind of wish it was like more, she needs to be more self-aware, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, she's all like, yeah, like, I could totally hunt if I had a knife, and it's like, no, you couldn't. And I just wish that she was more aware of that, because I'm like, girlfriend, you would die if it wasn't for your big blue alien dick boyfriend. I'm just saying. But yeah, so I'm glad that she's with the other girls now. I am kind of mad that they didn't like give her a little bit harder of a time about literally getting dick down while they were freezing and starving to death. They were just kind of like, can't blame you, anyways, I'm hungry. Like, they literally just glossed right over it. And I'm like, if that was me, I would have been like, I'm fucking up here dying and you're getting dick down. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you said you were gonna come back for us. What's your fucking problem? Like, you're so selfish. Fuck you. I hate you. Like, I would definitely like at least yell at her, you know, and then be like, okay, well, we'll talk about it later after I eat and get warm. Like, I would definitely be more pissed. And they were just kind of like, can't blame you, and then moved on about their day. And I'm like, I get that this is a short book, and so there's not a lot of time for like all this character building and stuff, but it's like there was definitely time for an extra paragraph of the girls just like giving her a little bit of a harder time. Like, yes, it's aliens, so it's not realistic, but like, that didn't feel true to like what would really happen. Like, if this was happening on Earth and these girls were stranded on Earth, I feel like they would have been like, no, like, why didn't you come sooner? We've been up here. Like, Dominique fucking went out and died. She's literally dead because you didn't come back sooner. That's on Georgie. And then the other girls are like, they didn't give her a rash of shit. Yeah, they didn't say anything to her about it. And I'm just like, I would have definitely said something. I don't know if that's just me being a bitch, but I definitely would have been like, no, you should have come back sooner. Dominic died because you fucking suck. you're a bitch. I would have been so mad. So I think I have like 2 hours left. I need to really just speed through this because at this point, like, what else could happen? I guess he's gonna take all these girls back to his village, by the way. As soon as we go back to his POV, he's like about to go get more food and stuff for them. And he's like, oh my God, there's so many women. And at my village, there's 22 men without mates. And there's 5 mature adults, which is perfect because there's 5 women here. And I'm like, of course, it's 5 and 5. Like, you gotta have one left out, you know? Like, you gotta make it a little realistic. Come on. So now I'm about to find out about that. I'll be back to update later. I'm also in the middle of my last sprint. So I'm gonna sprint, get some lunch, and then try to finish this book today. Okay, so a few hours have gone by and Vectel returns from getting food and like supplies for the women, food and water, and Georgie's like, oh, the girls have been giving me shit for hours, but that's okay, like I totally deserve it, and I haven't really done anything helpful since we found them. I'm just standing here looking proud that I brought Vectel here to help us. And she says, I'm just so freaking happy at the moment. Vectel's getting us fire and food, and all the girls are alive. I fussed over them for the last few hours, making sure they're warm and retrieving snow to melt in one of the makeshift basins so they can wash a little. All of the girls, Georgie? No, literally Dominique is dead. She left there probably looking for you because you took so long to fucking come back, and then you just said all the girls are alive, so you forgot about her. You literally forgot about her. I don't know if it's the character forgetting or the author, but that really is annoying. Like, no, all of the girls are not alive. One of them is dead in the snow as we speak. One of them is outside dead in the snow as you're sitting there with your fucking alien lover and your friends. Like, come on now, Georgie. Not all of the girls are alive. You forgot about her. Poor Dominique. She deserved better. So Georgie and Vectel are traveling from the pod with the girls to his, like, village, I guess. They stopped in another cave on the way there and did the deed, and then she sees a blinking light inside the cave. So apparently this other cave that he has been calling the Cave of Elders is a spaceship. The plot thickens because Vectel wants to take Georgie back to his village and like keep her there forever. He's in love with her, that's his mate, and for him, like, he's like, she's mine. He's super possessive over her, etc. And Georgie, like, obviously is growing feelings for him, but like her goal is still to go home. Like, she wants to help get the women, skedaddle on out of there and get back to Earth. However, I will say one thing about the writing is in Vectel's chapter, he calls them the humans. And then in Georgie's chapter, she's just been calling them the others, or, you know, the girls or the women. But just now we switched to a Georgie POV and Georgie said, I have it better than the other humans. So I think that was like a little slip up in the tone. I mean, understandable, like, error to make, but it's just a shame that it wasn't caught in editing because Georgie hasn't referred to them as humans so far, except when she was explaining to Vectel, like, I am a human. Yeah, so it was just a little bit of a whoopsie. But that's where I'm at. Nothing really exciting has happened since the last time I chatted to you. I am 63% of the way in. I just threw my Kindle at my cat. So sorry. I'm 63% of the way in. And I have an hour and a half left. So I'm definitely going to finish this tonight. I'm like liking it more than I thought I would. Don't get me wrong. But like, I don't know. The plot's a little bit meandering considering I'm 63% of the way through. But I think they're about to get to his village. But these poor women have been in that pod the whole time. So I really hope we get to see them at least like escape and go somewhere that's warmer. Because, yeah, these poor women are just stuck there. I mean, I get that this is, like, a romance book. It's, like, alien, like, romance smut, I guess. So, like, I understand it's about Georgie and Vectel. But it just kind of sucks that the other women are just kind of, like, there for the plot. But then, like, when Georgie and Vectel leave, like, they're just so unimportant. Like, I just want them to be saved also. Like, I just feel terrible that these women are just forgotten about in the snow. But hopefully they don't take 4 days again to get back to the mountain or whatever. So hopefully they can save them all. But it should be quicker now because Vectel knows that they're up there and hopefully he'll get people to help. He is like thinking about who he can get to go with him on the way back. Although in his mind, he's just like, I need to bring all the single men so they can mate. Like, come on, Vectel. Like, at least rescue them first before you start marrying them off. Like, ugh, you know? I mean, I get it. He's an alien. He's not a human. They don't think like us. So I get it. It's like, whatever. But come on, man. Okay, so in a turn of events, it's been a few hours. I started having a lot of pain in my arm at dinner time. I think the meds I'm on are working. my pain is just changing daily, and today's pain was a different pain that I didn't really enjoy very much. So that was fun. So then I came up here, got cozy, and then fell asleep pretty much while my son was in the bath. My husband was here, don't worry. He didn't leave him unsupervised asleep in the tub. And then he got him ready for bed. I said goodnight to him and continued my nap. So the last thing I read before all of that, I had just updated you guys about them finding the Cave of Elders, which was really a spaceship. And do you remember earlier I said, oh, I really hope they work on communicating. I think it will be cool to see them trying to figure out each other's languages. Yeah, Miss Ruby Dixon found a loophole for that. So this spaceship that they're in, you know, the blinking lights, and of course Georgie pushes the button. You know, you push a button on a ship with words you can't read, and she's like, yeah, why the fuck not? And then she talks to like this AI on the spaceship, and then she says, oh, can you translate what I'm saying to him, because it's getting annoying? And the spaceship is like, would you like to learn his language? I can help you. So then it just fucking zaps his language into her brain, and now they can talk. They didn't have to work for anything. It was so cute in the cave when they were like trying to communicate and pointing to things and saying the word in their language, and I was like, okay, I kind of enjoy that aspect of it. Like, that's kind of cute. Yeah, all of that just went out the window. Stupid. Fucking dumb.
Alien demon dick.
I'm leaving that in. I had to explain to my husband what a rabbit vibrator was so he could comprehend the alien penis that I had to read about.
Fuck you, James.
Thank you for my hot chocolate. You said it's cold? Oh, I thought you were saying my hot chocolate was cold. I was like, that's just chocolate milk, which actually sounds good. Remember when I was pregnant and I lived on chocolate milk and hot tamales? What a diet. Chocolate milk, hot tamales, and a chocolate prenatal chewable vitamin. It feels good. Can you put it on my bad arm?
Still an arm.
It feels nice. Ow, don't squeeze it.
Squishy.
It's squishy because it's swollen. My teeth just whistled. Did you hear that? Swollen.
Pervert.
I can't stand you. You want me to read you a demon dick excerpt? Sure, I could find something juicy in here.
Don't ever mention demon dick and juicy in the sentence.
Why? Don't you wish your penis had a second half that was like a vibrator?
No.
Imagine like getting kicked in the nuts, but you have two sets of dick. Do you think it would hurt twice as
You
bad?
just got tongs down there. You just grab the foot. Yeah. Haha, bitch, you ain't kicking me. What was that movie where the fucking chick's pussy was it teeth? Was that
Oh my god, teeth, yeah.
Yeah. Now you just got a demon dick that's tongs.
Teeth and tongs. That's like a badass like cop duo. Teeth and tongs.
Sounds like the wrong side of Reddit.
Hey babe, you know how, come closer so we're both in the frame. You know how romance authors describe like vaginas in these smut books? They'll be like, I don't know, they'll be like, he reached down and caressed my slicken folds.
Slicken folds.
Isn't that disgusting? Or they'll describe a penis as like a hard penis. They'll be like, it was like velvet wrapped steel.
Reached down and touched her beef curtains.
No, literally. Like, instead of just saying like okay, this book that I'm reading, I'll give it that. It's definitely said cock and pussy like quite a few times, which like that's fine. Just call it what it is, you know? But there was also a point where she was like, his member pressed at the entrance to my core. Like, what? Just say what it is.
He slithered into my dungeon.
No, literally.
Arby's 5 for $5 was no match for my meat.
I hate you.
No, it says I caress her breast. I tease one.
Yeah,
and
read
then
it.
the other.
Start there at You Are My Heart. Read it. Let's read it for the class.
You are my heart. I tell her as I caress her breasts. I tease one then the other, loving the soft noises she makes. Her skin puckers at my touch, and the scent of her arouser perfumes the air.
It's always the scent of the arousal. Apparently, in like Fae and aliens can apparently smell a wet vagina a mile away.
My mouth waters at the thought of tasting
This
her.
part I hate. I kiss
her flat belly. That will be rounded with our child next season.
Blech. He's like got a breeding kink. He wants to impregnate her so bad. Her feet brushing against my flicking tail. He's got a tail. I forgot to tell you he's got a tail. Her hands caress my horns as if they are my cock, stroking the length of each one, and I groan at the sensation. I seek the folds between her legs. It's so dramatic and I hate it. And she's wet and slick. I hate the word slick. Ugh. Also, every time they give head, they're like, this is the most delectable juice of the gods I've ever tasted. I lick and suck each fold. Why are you sucking each side separately?
That's a wide set vagina.
I can't help it if I've got a heavy flow and a wide-set vagina.
Yeah, he's sucking the lips.
You gotta have the appetizer. In fact,
My tongue coaxing more of her nectar from her body. I hate nectar. Ew, nectar.
this is terrible writing.
No, it is so terrible. There's definitely a few parts that have been like funny though, to me. I told
Sounds
you
like somebody that's like never had sex trying to describe sex.
no, it's because it's all romance authors. It's every sex scene in every like fantasy smut book. It's all so dramatic and I don't know why. So anyways, I got distracted telling my husband about the terrible language that they use in the sex scenes. But yeah, so I got really pissed off when she just magically learned his language from this AI spaceship who just straight zapped it into her brain. So the only part I liked, which was them trying to figure out what each other were saying, now is gone because they can communicate just fine. He takes her to his village and they walk in. It's like a village inside of a cavern. They walk in and there's a little kid that's like, why is she so ugly? Which was kind of funny, to be honest. Little kid was like, fuck this bitch, she's ugly as hell. But then Vectel's like, this is my woman. And I forget what he said. It was kind of nice. Like, he's a barbarian, you know? He's supposed to be a barbarian, but he's actually the most civilized person in this book. He said, this is my mate. I resonate for her. As if on cue, his chest starts to vibrate, the thick, steady purr jiggling my cheek. She's beautiful to me. Different, but beautiful nonetheless. But yeah, so after Vectel gives his little romantic speech to the tribe, Georgie says, my eyes prick with emotion. Okay, for a barbarian, he's pretty good at making a romantic speech. I'm totally giving him a handy for real when we get alone again. I'm definitely not hating it. Like, I'm not sitting here, like, trying to bash my head into a brick wall like I did for Zodiac Academy. But, like, I don't know. I'm finding it funny, but I don't really think I'm supposed to. At first, I thought, like, oh, okay, like, maybe I'm supposed to laugh at this. Like, maybe it's, like, a comedy. You know, maybe it's got some comedy to it. Maybe it's got some humor. And I think Georgie definitely has some one-liners, but some of the things I'm laughing at are not supposed to be funny. But, like, yeah, I don't know. This is kind of, like, it's like, if you've ever watched one of those, like, really shitty Christmas rom-coms on Netflix, not the Lindsay Lohan ones, those are adorable and I love them, but I'm talking like like Hot Frosty. That was so bad. I made my husband watch it with me and he was not pleased with me because it was so terrible. But this like is reminding me of that, where like I'm definitely laughing at it and it's funny and like it's just like a kitschy like stupid good time. That's kind of how I feel about this. Okay, so Georgie, I scared my cat, sorry. Okay, so Georgie is in Vectel's, like, cave, and he gives his little speech, and then he's like, okay, I'll take you back to my room, essentially, and get you settled, and then we'll get the healer. And he's like, Malak, where are you? And then she, like, comes out of the crowd, and she's like, I'm right here, I'll go get my things. So then Vectel walks her to his room. Then Malak comes a minute later, and is like, okay, I'm ready to heal her now. And then Vectel leaves, and Malak's talking to Georgie, and she's like, oh, I brought extra clothes because Vectel said you were always cold. No, he didn't. He never said that when they were together, and they've been together the entire time that they walked in the cave. They walked in together. Everyone stared at her. He gave his speech. He walked her to the cave. Malak met them there after, and he left. He was never alone with Malak, and he never said out loud at any point since they got here that she's always been cold. I hate, like, little inconsistencies like that. Like, it could have been so easily fixable of, like, when Malak asked for a healer to just be like, oh, can someone bring some extra leathers because she's colder than us? Like, she needs more warmth than us. Like, definitely something that could have been so easily caught in editing. But I do know that this was self-published before it got picked up. But, like, you would think that, like, when it gets picked up, like, it would have been caught by the editor, you know? I don't know. Also, now that she can speak his language super easily and they're getting all, like, lovey-dovey with each other, she's trying to decide, like, if she wants wants to stay with him. So in order to stay with him, she has to get this parasite called the kui, which is like the thing inside of him that told him she was his mate. And I guess it's like a parasite that allows life forms to like filter and process the air on this planet, because apparently it's got oxygen similar to Earth, but there's like an underlying gas that isn't detectable by like animal like life form lungs. And if you don't get this parasite within a few days of being on the planet, like you die. And so she's like, I either have to accept this parasite and stay here forever, find a way off this planet, or die. And it's like, yes, those are definitely your choices, but you spent literally 4 of your 8 days like getting railed and getting your back broke. So you're kind of running out of options here. Like, you really should have been thinking about this sooner. If you had remembered these women earlier on and gotten back to the pod earlier on, you probably could have saved Dominique from dying, figured out this spaceship thing sooner, gotten the magic translator thingy in your brain, and then maybe had a couple extra days to figure out an option. But no, you're running, like, time is running out. I feel bad for Vectel, because like he's obviously like, oh, like, I want you to stay with me, like, you're my true love, you're my mate, I love you, you're my residence. And she's like, I don't know about that one, chief. And he's just like, okay, like, poor guy. Yeah, so I'm definitely team Vectel. Georgie can suck it. She kind of sucks. Well, as expected. Now that she knows his language, he explained to her that his kui, I don't know what it's called, kui, resonates for her, because his kui decided that, or his kui like could tell that she was fertile, and that's his mate because he can get her pregnant. And so she's like, wait, what? And then she's like, wait. Oh my gosh, I think I'm late. What the fuck? I could be pregnant, you bitch. Actually, no, she calls him an asshole. She's like, you asshole, fuck. And he's like, I do not know these words. Hopefully this like I'm being late thing is just a misunderstanding, because I hate that. Ew. Is this book for people who have a breeding kink? What did I get myself into? Okay, so it's the next day, I guess, and they're going up to save the women, and Georgie's riding on Vectel's back, and she's like, I can't really stay mad at him. This part made me want to just wash my eyeballs out with bleach. She says, I feel the urge to touch my stomach, even though I'm currently piggyback on Vectel through the snow, heading ever up the icy mountain to where I left the others. I might not have had a choice about the baby, but I'm not upset. You were upset, literally last night, which is weird to me. It's hard to be angry when you see so much joy on another person's face, and bringing Vectel that joy gives me a sweet sort of satisfaction too. It's definitely a breeding kink, isn't it? It's definitely a breeding kink, isn't it? Maybe I'm more crazy about the guy than I like to admit. Although I will say they were smart, and on their way back up the hill, a few of the Sa Kui, which I think are the people, I think that's the name of the people Vectel is part of, went to the Elder's Cave, aka the like stuck spaceship thing, and they got English magically zapped into their brains, so now they can all communicate. Woo, loopholes. Yay, science fiction, right? Okay, any ounce of like enjoyment I was having reading this is entirely out the window at 84% of the way through, which is kind of depressing because I made it so far with like at least enjoying it for what it was. But the way that Georgie's just accepting all of these things that are happening to her without like any qualms or any like or anything, any emotions at all. They get to the pod with the women, her and the rescue party of aliens who now speak English. She says, let me go first, and Vectel steps ahead of me again with a shake of his head. Let me, in case there's something dangerous. I want to protest, but his hand goes to my stomach and he caresses it. Oh shit, a baby on board totally changes the game, doesn't it? I nod mutely and touch my stomach as he unsheaths the bone knife and descends into the hold. Stars flick in front of my eyes and I realize I'm holding my breath. But it's like literally less than like 12 hours ago you were pissed off at him because you realized you were late, and then like you just are so quickly to be like, oh, I must be pregnant, because she wouldn't know that she's late after only 4 days, because if she's ovulating, that's usually in like the middle of your cycle. She wouldn't know that she was late for like another 2 weeks, but she hasn't been there for 2 weeks yet, because because if she doesn't get a kui within 8 days of being on the planet, she'll die. So she's only been there for like 5 or 6 days at this point, so I don't think she would notice that she was late yet. I think she would need another week. I don't know. It's just pissing me off now. I really hate the pregnancy thing, and I knew it. I knew this was coming. The first time she said, oh, good thing I don't have to worry about the pill. You can't get me pregnant because you're an alien. Like, I knew it. I was like, this is exactly where this is going. Sometimes I really just hate being right. I hate it. Georgie's telling all the girls finally about the parasite thing She's telling them about how she learned the language. She's telling them about the resonance and the men wanting to mate with them. And Megan says, I'm a little more than freaked out at the thought of getting a sim thing, because the parasite's called the symbiote, the cootie. And then Georgie says, cooey, I shudder. What if it does look like a cootie? What the fuck does a cootie even look like, huh? Cooties is just a word for germs. Like, what does a cootie look like, huh? Ruby Dixon really wrote that line and was like, this is the one. She really put that in there. She wrote it, read it back, it made it through edits, and it got published. You had 4 opportunities to not do that, and yet you did. Why? I don't understand. Okay, so again, with no evidence, she tells the girls, I'm kind of biased towards one of our options. I'm pregnant with Vectel's baby. He's resonating for me, and apparently it means that despite the fact that we're not the same species, he can get me pregnant, so I want to stay. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Why did I do this to myself? It was so promising in the beginning. If there was no pregnancy and if the book was a little longer to kind of like build up some character work here, it could have been fine. Like, it would have never gotten over a 3 stars for me, but it could have been fine. And it's just splat. It is going to crash and burn. Not the pregnancy trope. Like, you don't even know for sure that you're pregnant and you're announcing it to all these women who are literally starving to death and probably dying of like habitat sickness, and you're just so confident about it. And then she says, the moment I say it aloud, I feel cleansed. Of course I want to stay. I'm coming to care for Vectel. I might even love the big guy. And I'm carrying his child. It's not his fault I was kidnapped by evil aliens and now I have to get a cootie, as Megan calls it. He's done nothing but love me. Okay, I swear the writing wasn't this bad in the beginning. It's getting worse and worse. Ruby Dixon does not know how to write like romance. She definitely was right. Like, in the beginning, like the attraction, like when she first met Vectel, like the attraction was written like yeah, he's hot, like the sex is hot, whatever, we get it, there's attraction. That was fine. But the romance part where it's like we're supposed to be seeing these feelings develop, and like I think Vectel is sweet to her, obviously, like he's a sweet guy alien thing. But like we never get to see them like actually like learning about each other's personalities and what they like and like what they don't like outside of fucking. And now she's like, I think I might love him. Like, are you serious? Come on now. You definitely have Stockholm syndrome. I'm just saying. Oh my god, one of the other characters called her out for being a dumbass bitch. A hot flush comes over my face. To be fair, I thought he couldn't make me pregnant if it was interspecies sex. A Great Dane can still get a Chihuahua pregnant, Liz points out. Guess which one you are? I make a face at her. I didn't want to say anything to influence you guys. You're a dumbass, and they called you on it, and that's so fucking funny. You're both humanoids. Of course you can get pregnant. Doesn't mean it will end well, but it could definitely happen. Exactly like Liz pointed out, a Great Dane could still get a Chihuahua pregnant, and that's fucking so funny. Liz is the only one in this book with any fucking common sense, and I wish that we saw more of her. Oh god, am I gonna get roped into reading another one of these? Is one of these others in the series from Liz's perspective? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Someone spoil that one for me in the comments. I'm sure if it exists, just spoil it for me, because I can't read another one of these. But Liz is definitely my favorite character. Okay, so after Georgie and the girls chat with the aliens and all discuss the symbiosis. Nope, that's not right. The symbiote thing. They wake up the girls in the pods who have just been in stasis this entire time, and of course Vectel and the men are like, hell yeah, 6 extra women we didn't know about. Our tribe is saved because we don't have a lot of women to mate with, apparently, blah blah blah. So, you know, they wake them up, they fill the girls in on everything that's been going on, and they don't even like say any, like, it's literally just we filled them in and then it's like they all started crying. So there was no like exposition about that. They don't have any reaction other than tears. These girls that just came out of stasis like don't have names or personalities. I think one of them might be called Tiffany. I don't even know. And then one of the scouts is like, oh my gosh, this Sakosh thingy that they need to hunt to get the parasite happens to be nearby. Woo, plot armor. And then so they go and they hunt it. The men take it down. It's like terrifyingly huge, enormous, like the legs are taller than trees, blah blah, whatever. It's like fucking dinosaur. The women who were awake the entire time have agreed to get the parasite because they're all very sick. They're like lethargic, they have no energy, like they're starting to get sick from the atmosphere. So they all agree to get the thing so they don't die. Meanwhile, the women who just got woken up are probably about to freak the fuck out because they just woke up, had this whole thing dropped in their laps, and then now they have to get like a parasite worm almost immediately after waking up from being in stasis. I honestly feel terrible for those girls who've been in there this whole time and had no idea what was going on. But I thought I would update one more time because I'm definitely gonna finish this here any minute. I think there's like 20 minutes left in the book. And yeah, so Vectel and Georgie are like lovey-dovey, and he's like, I would gladly do anything for you because you're carrying my child, and I'll definitely hunt another one of these beasts when you give birth so our kit can have a parasite too. And yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It could be worse, I guess, but it's definitely also not great, you know? You know what I'm saying? The way I'm feeling right now, it's probably going to be a 2 stars. And the only reason it's 2 stars is because Georgie had a few good one-liners. I think Vectel's kind of sweet, and Liz is the only one that makes sense. I'm going to finish this quickly, and then I'm going to give a couple final thoughts, and we'll wrap this up. Unlike Vectel and Georgie. Okay, so I finished Ice Planet Barbarians. Woo! Okay, so every single one of the women takes the parasite. Not a single one of them puts up a fight, apparently. Georgie goes first. She's so brave. And yeah, so they all take the parasite, and then they pass out, and then they wake up, and they're being lovingly tendered to by the barbarians. And Georgie wakes up, and she's like, how'd it go, Vectel, blah, blah, blah. And then she like puts a hand on his arm as she's like talking to him, and then she's like,
Oh my god, I'm so horny.
like... literally just touching him made her just dripping wet. And then he tells her, like, everyone took the worm, so we're good to go. Like, I told my men, like, be patient, let the women warm up to you, like, make sure you get their, like, agreement in anything you do, which, okay, yay for consent, I guess, like... So then Georgie and Vectel go off into the woods, and they start fucking on a rock, and literally as they're fucking, they see a spaceship like go by, and it's the one that like dropped them off here and left them in the pod. And then they like looked at the pod, they pulled the trackers out of their arms, so the aliens up top must have think they got murdered, and they just flew away literally as Vectel's like inside of her. And then they're like in the woods, and so they're like, oh thank god, like cool, whatever. And then they finish fucking, and then they're like laying down next to each other after, and Vectel's like, you're part of this world forever. And she's like, that sounds good to me as long as you don't resonate for anyone else. And he's like, don't worry, my love, I only resonate once. Yeah, he's like, Sakui, only resonate once, we mate for life. And she's like, I like the sound of that. And then it just ends. So we literally don't find out what happens to any of the other women. They're not important at all. They don't matter whatsoever. Although I will say, I think Liz got carried off by one of the barbarians, and he's horny as shit and about to just kidnap her and fuck her. But Vectel was like, he's gonna have a punishment when he gets back because he was supposed to wait for like the human to like warm up to him and agree to things. So I'm assuming this is like a companion series where every book follows a different woman, but it's like obviously like the plot is continuing and stuff. I'm not reading another one. Y'all can spoil me. As predicted, I think I'm going to give this a 2 stars, maybe like 2.25, because it could have been worse. Like, it definitely was more tolerable than Zodiac Academy, and I'll give it to the author. Georgie had a couple of funny one-liners. Liz also was kind of funny, and she was the only one who made sense. She was the only one with common sense, and I think Vectel was kind of like a sweet... He's a big dumb himbo. He's a big blue himbo. So, like, I liked him. He was fine. Like, the writing wasn't that great, and there were definitely a few like plot holes and plot armor conveniences that happened, but I mean it could have been worse, you know. So 2.25 stars feels fitting. I didn't hate it though. Like, it feels weird giving it such a low rating because like I read it in less than 24 hours, and like I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate it at all, but it's also just not good. Like, does that make sense? Like, I can recognize that it has merit for like, you know, like it is what it is. I don't hate it. I don't like resent it. I guess I'm kind of glad that I read it because it was definitely an experience. It was really funny. My husband laughed at it with me, so that was fun. We bonded a little bit over the disgusting use of the word slick and folds. Yeah, that's my thoughts. I was gonna do a more like professional outro in the morning in front of my shelves, like looking nice with makeup and stuff, but I just don't have it in me. You get the outro in my bed today. Here's my art from my child, my pills for my injury, my night guard, real sexy. Would I recommend this? Honestly, yes. Like, if you need a book that is like not going to like be serious at all, like I laughed so much, whether I was laughing at it because it was terrible or laughing at a couple of the one-liners. Like, I laughed a lot. This was honestly, like, I enjoyed the time that I spent reading it. Did not enjoy some of the things that were happening in here. I think the rape at the beginning was really unnecessary. It doesn't serve the plot in any way, shape, or form. And the woman that we see get raped literally died in the snow, and we don't ever see her deal with that or have any emotions around that. We don't ever see them kind of trying to like reach out to her and make sure she's okay. Like, the rape at the beginning was served no purpose and did not need to be there. They should have taken that out. It honestly could have just been like when she was screaming at the beginning, the aliens come in and like beat her up. Like, okay, fine, beat her until she shuts up. But like, the rape was so unnecessary. I think the author was trying to show like a stark contrast between the kidnapping aliens and then like the barbarians on this planet, about how like some of them are super violent and brutal, and then like there's Vectel, who's just like a big dumb sweet himbo. And like, we could have had that same contrast without the rape. Like, it could have just been a beating and it still would have had the same effect. That was really unnecessary, and I don't really feel like rape is something to be used in a story lightly like that. Like, I didn't really like that, to be honest. I kind of thought it was distasteful. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I don't really have many of them because there's not much else I can say. It was really short, which is also a plus. I'm sure that some of the other books in the series probably get longer. Sorry, I was just staring at the cover. Also, Georgie is a dumb bitch. Like, I'm so sorry. She really is a dumbass. She said some funny things, but she had no common sense and she's stupid. But she wasn't like unlikable. Like, I didn't hate her even though she was dumb. I was just kind of like rolling my eyes at her and being like, girl, you're a dumbass. Like, she was fine. Didn't hate her, didn't love her. Vectel, I like enjoyed. Didn't love him, didn't hate him, but I liked him more than Georgie. I wish we got more of Liz. And I really feel bad for Dominique. That poor girl. She deserved better. Ruby Dixon, you did that girl dirty, and I don't like it. If by some miracle you've made it this far in the video, leave an ice cube emoji down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.